there, future Angular developers. Are you preparing for an Angular interview? Feeling nervous? Don't worry, I've got you covered. In this video, we'll go through the most important Angular interview questions with detailed answers, real-world examples, and easy explanations. Let's get started. Imagine you're using Gmail. You open it once, and as you switch between your inbox and sent mail, the page doesn't reload. Magic? No, it's Angular. Angular is a framework developed by Google for building web applications, especially single-page applications, or SPA. Angular is based on TypeScript, which is a superset of JavaScript. TypeScript brings type safety, better structuring, and improved code maintainability to the framework. Angular also provides built-in tools like dependency injection, routing, and form validation, making for large-scale applications. One of the major advantages of Angular is its two-way data binding, which ensures that the view and the model are always synchronized. This reduces the amount of boilerplate code developers have to write. The framework follows a component-based architecture. Now, you may have heard about AngularJS. But wait, isn't Angular the same? Well, no. AngularJS version 1.x is the older version, while Angular 2+ versions is a complete rewrite of AngularJS. Think of it as upgrading from an old, slow car to a brand new, high-speed sports car. The newer Angular uses TypeScript instead of JavaScript, making it more powerful, scalable, and easier to maintain. TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript, which means it provides additional features like static typing, better tooling support, and improved code structure. Another major difference is performance. Angular is designed to be much faster than AngularJS. It uses ahead-of-time AO compilation, which means your code gets compiled before it reaches the browser, reducing load times significantly. Angular also follows a modular approach. Next question is, what is component? A component is like a small building block of an Angular application. Every Angular app is made up of multiple components working together to create a seamless user experience. Think of an Angular application as a house, and each component is like a separate room in that house. Each room serves a different purpose, but is still part of the same structure. A component consists of three main parts. HTML, the structure, what the user sees. This file contains the UI elements like buttons, input fields, and layouts that users interact with. TypeScript, the logic, how it works. This is the brain of the component that controls what happens when a user clicks a button, submits a form, or interacts with any element on the page. CSS, the style, how it looks. This file ensures that the application is visually appealing by applying colors, fonts, and layouts. Let's look at an example. Whenever we use app hello in an Angular application, the browser will display hello Angular in a blue-colored heading. If we update name to something else, like name equals developers, the page will dynamically update to show hello developers without needing a refresh. The next most important questions is module. Think of modules as containers that help organize your application. Every Angular app must have at least one module called the root module app module. But as your app grows, you can create feature modules to separate different functionalities, making your application well-structured and easy. Instead of cramming everything into a single module, you break your app into smaller, more manageable pieces, for example. User module for user-related features like user authentication, profile management, and settings. Product module for product-related features like product listing details. Next most frequent question which is asked is data binding. Data binding is how Angular connects the HTML and TypeScript code. Imagine you type something in an input box, and it automatically updates on the page that's data binding. This makes applications interactive and dynamic, eliminating the need to manually manipulate the DOM. Angular provides different types of data binding, each serving a specific purpose. Interpolation, used to display data in the template. It allows one-way binding from the component to the view. Property binding. This binds a property in the component to an element in the template. Event binding. This listens for user events like clicks and executes a function when an event occurs. Two-way binding. This creates synchronization between the component and the UI. Example. The message is displayed using interpolation. The input box is bound to the message variable using two-way binding. Clicking the button updates the message dynamically. This makes Angular applications incredibly dynamic, enabling real-time updates between the UI and the logic. The next question is directives. Directives are special instructions that modify HTML elements and enhance their functionality. Angular provides different types of directives that help developers control DOM elements dynamically. There are two main types. First, structural directives. Like ngIf, Engfer modify the structure of the DOM by adding or removing elements dynamically based on conditions, second attribute directives. Like enclass, engstyle change the appearance or behavior of elements by dynamically updating attributes and styles. For example, let's say we have a simple conditional display using ngIf. Here, the paragraph will only be displayed if isVisible is true. If isVisible is false, the paragraph is removed from the DOM, making the page more efficient. Now, let's look at an example using Engfer to loop through a list. If items is an array like apple, banana, cherry, Angular will generate 3 elements automatically. Another powerful directive is enclass, which dynamically applies CSS classes. If isActive equals true, the text will turn green and bold. Otherwise, it will turn red and italic. Similarly, engstyle allows dynamic inline styling. Clicking the button will change the text color to red dynamically. In short, directives make Angular applications more interactive and dynamic. The most important question is routing. Routing in Angular allows you to navigate between different views or pages without reloading the entire application. Imagine you're using an e-commerce website. You start on the home page and then click on Products to view a list of available products. Without routing, clicking on Products would refresh the entire page. But with Angular routing, the transition happens smoothly without a full reload, making the experience faster and more seamless. Here's how we define routes in Angular. This tells Angular that when the user navigates to home, it should load the home component, and when they go to products, it should display the products component. Now, let's add navigation links in our HTML. By using RouterLink, Angular handles the navigation internally without reloading the page. Have you ever wondered how different parts of your Angular app can share data seamlessly? Well, that's where services come in. Imagine this. You're building a messaging app. You have two components, one for sending messages and another for displaying them. Now, when a user sends a message, how do we update the display instantly without reloading the page? The answer? A service. A service in Angular is like a middleman that helps multiple components talk to each other. It allows us to fetch data from APIs, store shared values, and handle business logic in one place. Let's break it down with an example. Say we create a service called Data Service. This service stores a message. Hello from the service. Both component A and component B use the service. Initially, both components display the same message from the service. But here's the cool part: when we update the message from component A, it also updates in component B. That's because both components are sharing the same service instance. Pretty awesome, right? With services, we can efficiently manage data, avoid code duplication, and keep our app organized. Let's talk about a very powerful concept in Angular dependency injection. Have you ever wondered how Angular provides services to different components without us manually creating objects for them? That's where dependency injection, or D, comes into play. Imagine you run a coffee shop. Instead of making your own coffee beans, you order them from a supplier. You don't worry about growing or packaging. Your supplier takes care of all that. This is similar to how it works. Instead of manually creating an instance of a service in every component, Angular provides it automatically. Now, let's break it down with an example. Step 1. We create a service called Data Service that provides a message. This service acts like our coffee supplier. It provides the data when requested. Step 2. Inject the service into a component. This makes our application more efficient, modular, and easier to maintain. Without dependency injection, we'd have to create a new object every time, which would make our code messy and difficult to manage. Diving into a super important concept in Angular-observables !so. What exactly is an observable? Imagine you're ordering food online. You place your order, and instead of just sitting there refreshing the page, you get a notification when your food is on the way. That's exactly how observables work. Observables handle asynchronous data, like API calls or user interactions. Instead of waiting and blocking the app, they notify us when the data is ready. Let's break it down with an example. Step 1. We create a service that fetches data from an API. Here, Getasers is like placing your order. It returns an observable, meaning it's waiting for a response. Step 2. Now, we use this service in a component. Look at that! The subscribe method listens for the data, and once it's available, it updates our users list just like a notification when your food arrives. It's the power of observable. That's a wrap! I hope this video helped you understand Angular better. If you like this content, hit the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more awesome tutorials. See you in the next video.